Yo. What up, Deejer? My man. Yo, I'm sorry. Sorry this is taking me so long. But I've been busy with a lot of different stuff and I've literally recorded this 3 times already. And had a few failures. Let's just call it that. Call it how it is. So, being as I have already done this a few times, it should be pretty easy. So, I hope. Yeah, as you can see here, we've got a new unit, the Lady in Red, not to be overlooked. Beautiful new Nord Electro 6 HP. It's a hammer action, baby. It's not plugged in right now, so I can't show you its beauty, but an absolute unit. So today, the point of today is we are going to show you how to make all of the stuff that we've been working on, all of the shapes that you've learned actually useful. Show you how to put them all together, how to figure out what song is being played in what key, and how to actually jump in and play along with it. So without further ado, let's just dive right in, try to stay a little bit away from the weeds, but if we go into the weeds, we'll go happily. Getting a lot of feedback. Hopefully that sounds pretty good. All right, let's do the damn thing. So the first thing that you need to learn is, first thing you need to learn is the E string. You need to learn which notes are played on each string. So when you take the E string, you got to learn each one. This is really crucial because if you're ever going to be able to actually play in key, is that not enough? If you're ever going to actually be able to play in key, you need to know what every single one of these notes are. All right, so obviously we have E, and then we have F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and so on. So really the important thing to note here is each note has a full step in between it except for 2. E and F, E, F, and then A or B and C. So E, F, those 2 are right next to each other. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, right? So, and then you go, okay, well, what are these ones? Those are your half steps. So you're going to have E, F, and then this can either be considered F sharp or G flat, right? It just depends on how you're looking at it. So this is F sharp, G, G sharp, A flat, A sharp, B flat, B, C, C sharp, D or D flat, D sharp or E flat. Right? So I'd encourage you, maybe you can even print something out and have it where you can see it so you can consistently look those over, memorize them, make sure you can quiz yourself going anywhere up. All right, that's a C, that's an A, it's an F, E, right? You should learn that string really consistently because that's where we're going to jump off to right now. So I've decided that for this video, we are going to learn how to play the shapes in a C sharp major. Okay, so the reason that I've chosen that is because Steve-O tunes his guitar down a full step and a half, which really puts, if he's playing standard E shape with no capo, he's actually playing a C sharp minor. It's down here, so it sounds lower. It would really be like over here, but for the sake of learning how to play, I think it makes a lot of sense to learn how to play in that key. And also because it works really easily on the neck. The other next best one to probably learn would be an E major, because that's what a lot of things are played in, a lot of country music. But we're going to play in the C sharp major, and then I'm going to show you how to move that around, okay? So we learned our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and my apologies because I should have explained how these all fit together. That's pretty much the most important part because you can't just play them all in the same exact spot. So my apologies there, but you know what? We got what we got. All right, so we're going to play in C sharp major, and that means, do you understand that if you are, like, this is a C sharp major because this is basically the E shape, only because the E string is here, and so you make, how to make a full chord using all strings is, you know the shape for E, right? So anywhere that you do that, a bar chord is going to be the full thing. So an A major, right? Remember, E, F, G, A major, B major, C major, C sharp major. All right, so what we have here is whatever key we're playing in this instance, we're playing in C sharp major. Wherever your pointer finger is, wherever the actual note of the key that you're playing in is, E sharp major, is going to be the mix of the 2 shape and the 3 shape. So hopefully you've memorized these really well at this point. So this implementation should be pretty easy. You just have to figure out where to play them. So this is our C sharp. You're going to want to start with your 2 right up from it by putting your pinky finger on the C sharp major. Okay, so put your pinky on the C sharp major and then do shape 2. Hopefully you remember that one. Okay, so that's where shape 2 goes if you're playing in C sharp major. Right, so you can play it right there. Okay, C sharp major. So then guess what? So if this is the 2 here, the 3 fits right into that shape, but right here, starting here. So we're going to start the 3 with the first finger of the 3 shape, which happens to be your middle finger, because you go boom, 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 if you remember this one. Right? So do the 3rd shape on the C sharp major, starting with the C sharp major. Okay? So you have your 2, and then your 3 is just right up from it. And if you notice, the middle of those should line up, which they obviously do, the 2 and the 3. So the same thing is going to happen for all the patterns right up the neck. So you have your 3, and then your 4 is going to be right up here. It's basically going to start, so you have your C, and where your C ends, that finger here is going to be the start of the 4. So you're going to move your finger up here, and in this instance, the 4 is going to start on the D sharp. Okay? Right, so they all fit together again. If you look on the outside, you notice again, which happens to be both shapes for 3 and 4 match up. Same thing, where your pinky, where the last finger was on the 4, is where you're going to start your 5. So hopefully you remember the 5 as well. Right? Same concept, then you're getting back all the way up to the 1. Shite. Okay. And look at that. The 1, would you believe it, fits right in with the 2. So in this case, boom, there's our 2. And so guess what this must be then? Because this is the last finger on our 2 shape. What note do you think that is? This is where you start all the notes. You guessed it. It's a C sharp minor, major. Just a C sharp, not a major or a minor until you add the other notes. C sharp. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. So here we are in our C sharp. And our 2 is here. So guess what? The 1 plays off the back side of the 2. So that means that where the 2 started is where the 1 begins. So if the 2 started here, that means that's the butt of the 1. So, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. They all fit together, and if that's the 1, then what would be right next to it on this side? It'd be the 5, right? The 5 mixes in with the 1. That's why it's important to memorize all those different shapes, because they all fit together. So you can't leave any of them out. Otherwise, you're going to have a hole in your pattern, and you're going to get stuck on one side or the other. So now that you have that, that's where you're going to play it. Now, don't necessarily just memorize the shapes based on where they are for the C sharp major. The key is to memorize them based on how they fit together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because if I say now, okay, let's start playing in A major. Now what are you going to do? Well, this is your A. So what's on this side of the A? It's a 3, right? The 3 is where your finger starts for the major. So, all right, that's a 3. And the 2 is where? Right here. Okay, that's where, so that's why you need to memorize the shape of them. So don't worry about where they are. I just taught it to you on C sharp major because that's, relevant. But realize that you can slide them up and down anywhere. So don't get fixated on using like the dots or anything like that. Just memorize the shapes and how they all fit together. So here's a little technique that I would suggest you use is get a metronome. And set it starting with, you could start with 50, you could start with 75 beats per minute, and just get it clicking. And then you're going to jump in starting with the 1, okay? So in this case, the 1 is the G sharp A flat, right? And so you got, and then just go through and see that? Okay, so that was the 1. We went into the 1, then we slid into the 2. And then we slid into the 3 up here. So you can zigzag the other way. You can also start at the bass and go. Right, so we're at C sharp major. So that means that the 2 is here, which means the 1's here. So you can start down here. Recognize that this string is obviously the low E, high E. So anytime, anything you're playing up here is going to be the exact same down here. So you can start down here with the E, or with the 1 shape. Go into the 2, 3, up into the 4, get into the 5, back into the 1. Oh, golly, that's a beautiful thing. Then guess what? Bump it up, hit it up to 100. If you can get to, I'd set a goal. I'll set a goal for you. See if you can get up to 125 beats per minute. I wonder if I have my phone around here. Let's see if I can do it. Hey Siri, play 125 beats per minute metronome. Put me on the spot. All right, hear that sucker in the back? Name of the game, don't miss the beat. Shit! All right, I'm starting over. We're going to nail this thing. That's right. That's it. 125 beats per minute right there, baby. Got to bust them out. So see if you can get there. See if you can get to 125 beats per minute. Boom. Sliding right up the scale. That's a really, really good, useful skill. It's a good, useful skill, obviously, but the most important thing is that's crucial for learning how to actually play over any music, right? You memorize that scale, and then you start to learn how to bounce in between them. This is so quiet. You learn how to bounce in between them. Right, you kind of learn the different strokes on the... That's also really important to figure out how they move that way. Focus on that after you're comfortable hitting the shapes and getting up to at least 100 beats per minute, hitting those. Then start to work horizontally, okay? Figure out the strings, string up, string up, string up. And that's going to help you really flow in between them all really smoothly. So, obviously, once you've gotten there and you're comfortable where each shape fits in the pattern, then you can start messing around using, hammer-ons, little bends and stuff like that. And just messing around, trying different stuff, seeing what sounds good. We'll get into some of the more systematic ways to go about a solo based on what notes you're hitting, like the root notes. Root notes sound good. Eventually, you kind of learn how it all maps out together. But for now, focus on getting those shapes all down consistently, getting comfortable moving quickly up and down the neck with them, sliding, getting your fingers into that muscle memory so you don't miss a hit. And then the other piece, which I kind of already explained, but if you are trying to play along with a random song, let's say you pull up a say backing track in E major, right? You can search these on YouTube. I would suggest starting with a backing track in C sharp major, just because that's where we already laid out how to play it. You can play along with it, just mess around based on the shapes that we just laid out. But let's say you're playing with somebody who says, I'm in an E major. Okay? So how do we figure out how to play along with that? Well, if you are, like we explained. So that's the E major. That's the E. It's not a major or minor until you add the other units. But, so if this is your E, guess what? This is your 2. This is your 1. Okay. You get it? So that's then you're in your 3. Kind of just learn how they all match up. Boom, 4, 5, 1, 5, 4, So the other thing you can do, obviously, anytime you want to play along to a song that you hear on, iTunes or the radio or something like that, you just look up and say, what key is this song being played in? And based on that, you can deduce where to go. So this part's a little bit, I don't want to confuse you with this. but we're you're a smart dude. We're gonna work this thing out. So let's say that we're getting, because the other thing you may run into when you do that is a lot of songs are obviously played in minor. Okay. So don't worry about this right now, but after you get really comfortable with lining up all those shapes together, come back to this piece. So let's say we're playing in a C sharp minor, right? So that's without the middle finger, just like you're playing in E minor. All right. So a C sharp minor, instead of this being the 2 and the 3, the finger being in the 2 and the 3, now the finger is in between the 1 and the 2. So you're right here on a C sharp minor. Guess what? This is your 2. That's why everyone's like, oh, learn the minor pentatonic, because you learn this shape, right? Everyone does that same shape because that's right over the main encasing for the minor. I think that the 3, I like to play major. A lot of songs that are major, so I use the 3 a lot more, but not necessarily. You can still use the 2 in the major. You use all of them, but sometimes it's easier based on where you're riffing around. So if you're playing here, it's kind of hard to like jump in down to the 1, right? So anyways, if you're playing in a C minor, C sharp minor, or any minor, you're now in between the 1 and the 2. So the 1 is here. And a good way to visualize how these all match up is in the 1 and the 2. You're using all of these ones, right? You can see the way the 1 and the 2 butt up against each other really clearly. Crikey. Okay. So I think that about covers it. Sorry this was delayed, but better late than never, brother. Best of luck. Let me know if there's any areas that you're still working on, still struggling with a little bit. I'm just going to throw in one little technique that is a good practicing tool to get your finger picking skills up. All right. This is just straight bonus material right here, baby. This is one little technique that I made up that's super useful. You can also use it in a finger picking style. But basically, you want to get really consistent and comfortable moving between the different strings. So, little technique that I made up is you start on the high string, then you go back to you start on the low E, and you go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right? And then you switch to this one. Switch to the middle one. Always coming back to the one you're on. And then starting at the bottom. Second string. You get the picture. Right, so that's kind of a cool little technique that really warms your hand up. It's a cool little technique to warm your hand up. Somewhat useful. You can also do it with, we're just going right down the rabbit hole here. You can also do it just with your finger picking hand, right? So same thing. Go to the middle finger. Usually I'm a little better at this. Just move right on up. And then you can do it. It's not too pretty, but you get the idea. You practice moving up and down. I like to start with the bass, and then you use the pinky for both the bottom two. And when you're starting at the bottom, you use the thumb for the top two, all the way up. All right, so that's a little bonus material for you. Hope you like that. So those are the keys. Number 1, learn all the notes on the E string. That way, anytime someone says we're playing in this key, you know exactly where to start your scales, right? Then you remember that if we're playing in a major, that your pointer finger, the note that is the actual, so in this case, A, if it's being played in A, that's the middle between your 2 and your 3. Mess that up a little bit, but you get the idea. And for the minor, it's in between the 1 and the 2. I think that's about it, brother. So go out there, do your thing. Remember why you're doing it. Stay focused. I'll leave you with one last thing, similar to what I said last time, but learning this stuff is beyond worth it. Honestly, I've recently hit a point where it's just become more and more fulfilling and rewarding to get this far into like the music theory world, because at a certain point you don't have to look up and learn how to do a lot of this stuff. You actually learn just by thinking through and playing around. You notice a lot of things that actually link up together. And now that I'm learning theory on the piano, it's improved my guitar skills even while the guitar is sitting right there, because I'm recognizing simplicities that seem simple on the piano that translate directly over to the guitar, and it's just like mind-blowing. I freaking love it. I think you will too, because the way that your mind works as well, it's just set up to like, it's fun. Stick with it. Keep on grinding. Keep on hustling. Keep on jamming. It's well worth it. And once you get this whole piece down that I just taught you today, boom, now you can rock and roll. You can play along with anybody at any time, and that's fun.